How much snow we're talking about. The snow up to my waist right now.
Imagine trying to get a car through here right now.
When the Duncan is closed, we know the times are rough.
The storm's powerful winds caused damage along the coast.
Waves are reaching anywhere from 8 to 12 feet, and we're even seeing some minor splash over as well.
New worries about melting snow 1 week after record snowfall out west.
We're anticipating they will see flooding. It's just a question of how much, not if.
Plus, a closer look at Oregon's snowpack and the impact on wildfire season and the growing concern over golden mussels in California.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. It's a day for millions of people to dig out across the Northeast after the blizzard of 2026 dropped record amounts of snow. Now, plows across the region are working overtime to clear highways and roads. This one is trying to drive down a New York City side street. Other plow drivers found themselves stuck in the deep snow. Whiteout conditions were common as the snow swirled in 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This morning, more than 350,000 homes and utilities are without power. 250,000 of those are in Massachusetts, where 87% of Cape Cod is without power. So far, more than 2,200 flights have been canceled, with nearly 10,000 already delayed. And the snow fell fast. Check out this time lapse from Cumberland, Rhode Island. You can see just how quickly the snow piled up. Then there were the snow drifts, which grew to over 6 feet in places. Here you can see a Rhode Island man opened his basement door only to find snow going all the way, look at that, up to the top. Now here are some of the remarkable snowfall totals. 30 inches fell in New Jersey. You have 31 inches in central Islip on Long Island, 21 inches in Delaware, and more than 3 feet in Rhode Island. In fact, that was enough for Providence to set an all-time record, topping the snowfall in the infamous blizzard of 1978. A state of emergency and travel ban are in effect through this morning in Rhode Island. We have a team of reporters across southern New England this morning, starting with Mike Cerullo in Providence.
This is the aftermath of the blizzard of 2026 right here. You've got side streets like this. This is right off Cranston Street. And as I'm walking down the street at the moment, it's hard to walk on through this snow, let alone drive through this snow. You can see just the conditions. Imagine trying to get a car through here right now. Definitely a lot of cleanup left to do in Providence. You can see this car right here. They're going to have to dig this out. And we're seeing situations like this all across the West End. As the sun comes up, it's going to reveal more situations just like this. Now, we have seen some plow drivers this morning out and about, especially on those main roads. The main roads, for the most part, seem pretty passable. We're looking at Cranston Street over here, and you can see it's not to blacktop, but it is. We've seen cars drive on it fairly easily. Now, those are probably essential people as well as plow drivers that are making their way through to continue the cleanup effort. Of course, the big question on everybody's mind, how long is it going to take to clean up all of this snow from the roads and start to get back to some sense of normalcy?
In the heart of downtown New Bedford, right along Union and 6th Street, and as you can probably see, surrounded by snow. Now, this road, I mean, the plow people, they have been working this road, but as you can see, a lot of work still needs to be done. I think what's a true sign of how massive this storm was, you can see this Duncan completely closed. It actually said on the maps temporarily closed. And I mean, just living in New England, everyone knows when the Duncan is closed, we know the times are rough. You can see the snow is covering the entrance.
Where I'm coming to you right now, you can get an idea of just how much snow we're talking about. The snow up to my waist right now. This is Jamestown, Rhode Island. So we're right here on the coast. A flagpole right here, uprooted at the base. I was outside when this actually went crashing down to the ground. We've seen wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour here by the coast. But really, again, look at the surf there. Definitely not a part of the story right now. Earlier, though, waves were crashing above this dock here, to give you a perspective.
Well, areas in and around Boston were also hard hit by that bomb cyclone. We have more from Kimberly Bookman in Foxborough, Massachusetts, 30 minutes south of Boston.
I am holding on to a light post here,
hoping not to get knocked off my feet in wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. I grab onto something sturdy in Foxborough and do my best to stay put.
Any moment you feel like you get blown over.
That high wind pushing snow into the air, making for whiteout conditions on the roads.
We can see maybe 100 feet in each direction. It's dangerous for my guys. I tell everybody go slow as you can, because you never know. There's a lot of people working, out in the ground, on the ground, shoveling. So it's just be really careful, because you can only see probably about a good 100 feet in front of you, and it's tough to stop.
The wind so strong, in fact, it compacts the snow.
You can see it even gets stuck on the shovel.
So it's difficult to move out of the way.
We're kind of right now in the mode of just do what we can to make it as safe as possible.
Portland, Maine is just 2 hours north of Boston, but it didn't see the large snow totals like southern New England. But the storm was a force along the state's rugged coast.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. We are here at the Eastern Prom where the winds are whipping. That is the story with this storm. The snow falling at a light to moderate clip, but we're not looking at a heavy snowfall. We have some very large waves off to the back of me, as you can see, upwards of 10 to 15 feet in some spots, and those waves are crashing up and along the rock wall here at the Eastern Prom. We have snow drifts, very strong winds, blowing snow, reducing visibility across many parts of Maine right now.
I'm Max Williams at the tip of southern Maine's coastline, and the winds have significantly picked up, and you can tell just how powerful they are the way that they are pushing me forward. Gusts are up to 60 miles per hour right now, and take a look at what it's doing to the water. Waves are reaching anywhere from 8 to 12 feet, and we're even seeing some minor splash over as well.
While much of Maryland escaped the worst of the blizzard, it was very impactful along the coast. Brad Bell continues our coverage in Ocean City.
In the Ocean Pines community just inland from Ocean City, hundreds of trees, large and small, snapped under the weight of about 10 inches of very heavy snow. For many, it was a long night as trees fell across power lines, triggering outages during the blizzard. Along Route 90, which cuts through Ocean Pines, we spot a crew clearing trees leaning over the highway and abandoned cars. This one in a field, this one trapped between fallen trees. In Ocean City proper, at high tide just before noon, only minor street flooding from the storm surge. That had been a fear. But the waves at the inlet jetty were impressive and apparently big enough to make these surfers willing to cross the snow-covered boardwalk and the snow-covered beach and plunge into a near-freezing Atlantic Ocean for an ever-so-brief ride.
And for all the latest on this record-breaking storm, be sure to follow us on social media. We'll also post content throughout the day from our meteorologists that are in the hardest hit areas. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And now to California, where rain is in the forecast for the Lake Tahoe area today. And with snow from recent storms melting, it could lead to major flooding. Michelle Banduri has more.
It's been days of clearing snow and ice in South Lake Tahoe. Now, instead of removing it from the roads, city crews focusing on storm drains on busy boulevards.
When the water does start flowing, it can flow into the drains and hopefully go out the way it's intended to, rather than being blocked up and not being able to go out.
Steve Tibble's using the break in the weather to get the feet of snow off his roof, preventing ice jams. Tibbles lives in a neighborhood that sees flooding after the snow from big storms starts melting. And now rain in the forecast bringing even more challenges.
And there's no drainage. I mean, they built this house right across the fall line, and it all just runs right up to Michael and puddles up.
The city's encouraging residents to be ready. That's why they've set up 2 free sandbag stations so folks can protect their homes and businesses.
We're anticipating they will see flooding, and it's just a question of how much, not if.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, the snowpack in Oregon's Cascade Mountains is low. We'll look at what that means for the state's wildfire season, and we're going to find out why the invasive golden mussel is bad news for California farmers.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. Yesterday's blizzard in the Northeast is rapidly making its way up into the North Atlantic today. I think we'll enjoy some sunshine for our Tuesdays and well-deserved sun. Temps will make a run at the upper 20s and low 30s. There's another round of snow moving in for Wednesday. It's a fairly weak system. It's basically a glorified warm front producing a round of snow, mostly during the morning and early afternoon on your Wednesday. It's a chilly start to the day, so it's going to be a fluffy snow with many towns picking up another 1 to 3 inches of snow.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. As we head into the afternoon, clouds will gradually clear and we'll have a good bit of sunshine for most of the region. That will be short-lived. The next weather maker moves in, leading to the chance of rain and snow across the region into Wednesday. Temperatures will rise to the 20s, 30s, and 40s for a chilly afternoon. Then overnight, temperatures drop down to the 20s, 30s, and 40s over the region.
Good Tuesday morning, meteorologist Michael Arenberg with a look at your Southeast regional forecast. Lots of sunshine with high pressure dominating from Texas and the Mississippi east to the Atlantic Gulf Coast through Florida. Some clouds possible in the Smokies of Tennessee and the mountains of western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, but that's going to be about it. No precipitation expected. Highs will range from the 40s in Tennessee and the Carolinas to the 50s from the Atlantic Coast and the Carolinas out to the Mississippi and North Florida. Low to mid 60s for Central and South Florida.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A daytime view of Nakalula Falls in Alabama, and underneath the waterfall, a rainbow sighting. An early morning rainbow spotted in the suburbs of northwest Washington, D.C. Here's a look at a snowy village outside of Chicago Wednesday, and a snowy look of the feathered kind, this snowy owl caught perched on a deck in Maine.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
The Cascade Mountains in Oregon are facing snowpack problems, even with all the recent snowfall, and some worry that could cause wildfires when conditions turn warm and dry. But that's not necessarily the case. Sarah Bagby explains.
My main message here is our snowpack is doing really poorly.
Despite the new snow in the Cascades, state climatologist Larry O'Neill says we're unlikely to catch up for the lacking snowpack by the end of this winter. The snowpack is currently 36% of the median, which means we have about 1/3 less water stored in our mountain snow than expected. So what does this mean for the upcoming summer?
You can think of snowpack as our natural water tower. So when it's low, we're not only just losing the ski, snowboard season, but we're also losing our most reliable summer water storage.
That water, also important for fires.
In the Cascades, you can also think of the snowpack as a slow release sponge that keeps our forest damp. And without it, the forest floor dries and we could have a fire season that starts weeks earlier than usual.
A dry start, though, doesn't always mean a dry finish. Other variables help protect us from fires and severe drought. Weather patterns have a big effect on whether wildfires happen or become extreme.
Sometimes we may get a very rare front that comes in during the summer and brings some rain. So for example, in 2015, that was the last really low snowpack. The following fire season after that was actually not as bad. So it's uncertain on how the fire season's going to pan out this year.
So even if we enter next summer in a drought, though tough on our land and water supply, there's still a good chance of getting through next summer scorch-free.
Officials are sounding the alarm in California after invasive species is threatening one of the state's key water systems. It could disrupt water delivery to farms and communities in the area. Myra Frankel has more on the invasive golden mussel.
You hear a lot about different species of different things, but you don't pay a lot of attention until all of a sudden it's in your backyard and it's a big problem.
Edwin Camp is a farmer from Bakersfield and shares with us how quickly golden mussels are affecting his water system.
We've seen in less than a year a huge population explosion of the golden mussel. And within the system, within closed pipelines and gates and even open canal, water tanks throughout the system, we've had a real explosion of mussels that in time would actually start closing off capacity in lines and so forth.
Camp warns the infestation could block water delivery to local farms and communities.
We went from nothing to a huge problem in just a year's time, and it just showed us how invasive they are and how quickly they can build in a system.
He says his water district is preparing a treatment plan and hopes it will work. For farmers like him, time is crucial.
We don't have time to spare to study it and next year come up with a plan. We've got to be working on it right now.
Camp says officials have been testing the 152-mile Friant Kern Canal, which runs from the San Joaquin River at Millerton Lake down to Bakersfield, and talks are underway to control the problem before it gets even bigger.
So really today's discussion was, how do we make sure we don't introduce it into the canal where it isn't right now, and trying to make sure that, you know, whether it's a information, treatment plan, whatever we need to do, we don't let it become a problem up here like the problem I have personally in the district we farm in.
In the age of self-driving cars, it's worth remembering where it all began and celebrating how far American innovation has carried us from the very first automobile to today.
It has to be made in America. If the car is made in another country, no thank you.
The automobile, a driving force of American innovation, fuel to American prosperity, and central to American culture.
And there's only one man for the job.
Jetson?
But before the Jetsons' flying car ever soared across television screens, and long before autonomous and electric vehicles entered our daily lives, it all began with the first car. Let's go back to the beginning, even further back than the Model T, but we'll get to that in a moment.
He began with an idea that most people thought wouldn't work, but he made it work.
The journey began in the late 1800s with America's first successful gasoline-powered automobile invented by the Duryea brothers in 1893. America was expanding rapidly, and everyday life was charging faster than horse-drawn carriages could keep up. But it was Henry Ford who took the market by storm. With the revolutionary Model T, it changed America. Introduced in 1908, the Model T put the world on wheels for American families. Automakers like Dodge, Chrysler, and General Motors put the pedal to the metal, using Ford's assembly line method to get more automobiles on the road quickly. By the roaring 20s, cars were central to American life. And during the 1940s, American automakers played a critical role in the war effort, manufacturing military vehicles, tanks, and ambulances. Then, the real boom came after World War II. American automotive innovation shifted into high gear. Cars by the 1950s started to boast new safety features like seatbelts, flashy designs and colors, more powerful engines. By the 1970s, airbags and anti-lock brakes. And just in time for the 21st century, hybrid cars hit the road. And the modern electric vehicle took off in the late 2000s. Today, cars are sleek computers on wheels.
I think self-driving cars is essentially a solved problem at this point.
As for what's ahead, artificial intelligence has become the core driver of automotive innovation, meaning the journey for the American-made car is far from over. For Amazing America, I'm Taylor Murray with the National News Desk.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Maryland's Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Across the region today, things are pretty quiet unless you live across the far northwest. If we're looking at some snow across the northern Great Lakes today. Tomorrow's dry for most of us. Might get a couple sprinkles or flurries out there, but generally dry for a lot of us on Thursday. And then we will continue to watch a little bit of rain-snow mix to the south Thursday as well.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Starting off just slightly cool this morning. 41 out toward Amarillo, 44 in Oklahoma City, same thing for El Paso. You get down to Brownsville though, sunshine, temperatures into the mid-50s. A little bit of a low pressure area moving out across North Texas, stretching across the region. Not much happening overall. It's going to be another one of those days when we're going to be watching out for the fire index. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty warm. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there and a good Tuesday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. It is so cold in the Northeast again with that big nor'easter and all the snow, and look at how things are going on the opposite end of the country. 86 in the well-named Valley of the Sun for spring training for the Major League Baseball teams this week. 62 in the city by the bay, and this big disturbance sinking in that direction. It's leading to snow and gusty conditions around Yellowstone today. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, last week was unusually warm in parts of North Carolina. Normally, stretches of warm weather would alarm apple growers, but that's not the case this time. Meteorologist Julia Haley explains.
Apple buds are already starting to swell in Henderson County.
These are fruit buds right here on this tree, and they are starting to swell a little bit. They are starting the process of moving the sap up into the tree.
Warmer nights can nudge trees out of dormancy earlier than usual.
If this was going to be an extended warm period, I would be very afraid. But we got some colder weather coming, and that will slow them back down, and we should be fine.
Most farms haven't started planting yet, but for home gardeners seeing early sprouts, be ready to protect your plants when temperatures drop.
If you've got some outdoor plants that have started to come to germinate or come up, then you should cover them, and that will, a minimum amount of cover at the temperatures we're getting should be enough.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.